It's 2 p.m. Detroit, and you know what that means. Detroit media icon Ryan Ermanni, University of Michigan great Braylon Edwards, and of course, Maz are about to take over on Woodward Sports. Every day, 2 to 4 p.m., it's the best Detroit sports talk on Detroit's best sports network, Woodward Sports.
Hey, let's go Monday show, May 6, 2024. Ermanni and Edwards with Maz, Woodward Sports Network, woodwardsports.com, fox2detroit.com, and the Fox Local app if you are watching live. If you're watching on YouTube, nearly 65,000 subscribers on this platform now. Hit that like button, subscribe to Woodward Sports. Maz is out today. Braylon Edwards, good afternoon to you, my friend.
You know, it's indeed great afternoon. It was a great weekend. So many sporting events. We'll get to those. Cinco de Mayo had a little taco bar set up at the crib. So that was a lot of fun. And also, the music is still going ham. I'm here to let you know, Ryan Ermanni. Drake, if you're listening to this, Drake, it's too late.
What's going on with this now? We talked about this last week a little bit. There's a lot to get to. But, every news station, sports station, I turned on this morning, still talking about Kendrick Lamar and Drake beefing with one another. In fact, Stephen A. Smith took a minute out of his show today and looked at the camera and said, fellas, stop beating each other up like this. But it sounds like one guy's getting beat up a little bit more than the other.
At the end of the day, look, you're talking about Drake. Drake's probably the number 3 superstar in the world behind Beyonce and Taylor Swift. Outside of those two, there's nobody in the world bigger than Drake. So when he's going against somebody that is more successful than him statewide and Billboard charting in terms of winning awards, and they naturally don't like each other, it's going to be talked about because it's the era we live in. Everything is social media. Am I right, Mike? Everything is social media. Everything is trending. What's trending right now is Drake is getting his you-know-what kicked across the country. And it's funny because Mike, he's addressing everything except the real allegations here in the story that Drake's messing with underage girls. Kendrick Lamar threw that jab. And that's more
Maybe that's why Stephen A. was like, stop it, fellas.
And that's what Stephen A. Smith is, because you saw this happen before with Jay-Z and Nas. Like, it got to a point where Jay-Z made a comment on the disc, like there were some prophylactics that he left in Nas's son's mother's seat, if you will.
Okay.
So it got to the point where it got real, like, all right, Jay-Z.
A little uncomfortable.
Jay-Z's mom actually came down to Hot 97 and was like, or she called in. Jay-Z was on the radio station when they were dropping the Nas disc. She called in, and that's when Jay-Z stopped the beef. But they're getting paid, Ryan, at the end of the day. It doesn't matter who wins.
I thought this was staged, in fact.
And I'm starting to believe, I promise you, I'm starting to believe it was, and I think that's why J. Cole tapped out. Not more so because of the what could happen and he could lose, just more I'm not that type of guy. It's eating my soul. I think legitimately, they talked about this before they did it, because they're making, like, this is the most money Kendrick's ever made in terms of music-wise and streams, the most streams he's ever had, and Drake obviously is going to capitalize on that as well. I think they talked about it beforehand and said, look, I don't like you, you don't like me, let's get paid off of it.
No kidding, man. Oh, man.
Dang,
hey,
Kendrick is,
Hey, speaking of getting paid, there was a little situation last night where there was a lot of payback to Tom Brady.
Ooh.
Did you see this live roast last night? Now, listen, the live roast of Tom Brady was tremendous. One aspect of this, my internet, it froze every third word because of the live element to it. Netflix has to fix this live element to it, but no, that's neither here nor there. Yeah. That was absolutely fantastic. I will never understand how anybody would ever want to
volunteer for that
in that seat and get roasted. But man, sitting on the outside looking in, it was uncomfortable. It was fun. It was happy. It was a lot of big wow moments. Pretty crazy.
Look, I love roasts. I've been watching these roasts for a very long time. I remember the roast back in the day. Richard Pryor was up there. You had like the older comedians back, Red Fox in the day. But this is what it is, Ryan. Like all the people that are complaining today, talking about, oh, the jokes were a little over the edge. That was a little too racy. You guys don't know what a roast is. A roast is set up so that the person getting roasted knows everything is on limits. This is one of those free pass type situations, Ryan. You watch a roast, you get the comedians, all of those guys are on the same roast, whether it's Jeff, I can't think of his name, the bald head
Jeff
guy.
Ross.
Whether it's Jeff
He
Ross,
was doing it last night.
he's the MC. He's the main guy. You got Kevin Hart's been on some of these. Nikki
He was
Glazer.
on last night.
Nikki Glazer.
Those three were there
100%.
last night.
And I haven't even seen it. Rob Riggle is usually on there as well. Insert comedian Pete Davidson is usually a part of these things. They roast each other, and then they roast the person. Like it's great. It's like one of the last places where you can just have a great laugh and not feel bad about it.
In fact, the one uncomfortable moment, and again, we're going to show you some of the clips of this. We cannot show you 90% of what we want to show you because of all of the language.
Licensing, the language.
No,
just the language.
Just the language is so brutal, and it is.
I'll watch it tonight.
Yeah, it is crazy. But one of the parts that was so brutal was Jeff Ross. He is talking to Tom Brady. He says, "Yeah, one of the great stories of Tom Brady is when he gets drafted by the Patriots and he goes up to Robert Kraft and says, 'I'm the best decision you ever made.' It's almost like you wanted to give him a massage or something like that. Oh, Mr. Kraft, we love you, And then Brady was so uncomfortable by that, gets up out of his seat, and the microphone is on, so you can hear what he's saying. It says, 'Don't ever say that bleep again.'" And Jeff Ross is like, okay. And again, it is when you put yourself in a position to do that, all of these things come out. But this was a total love fest for the New England Patriots 20-year dynasty.
Yeah, 100%. And Robert Kraft wins again. You saw the dynasty he won, and
Bill
dynasty.
Belichick did too last night. He won last night.
Okay, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
I want you, because I didn't see it. I want you to tell me about it. But you got to understand what you sign up for.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's two sides to this. The first side, Tom, come on, man. You can't be that sensitive. Like, you're a 7-time Super Bowl champ. You're the GOAT. Everybody loves you. You put yourself up here to get crucified. Yeah, take the jokes that come with it. Like, that's the first thing. On the flip side, it did set a tone on what Jeff Ross, joke-wise, knew what and what not to say. And that part, I'm not mad at Brady, because when he said that, Jeff knows, okay, check, I can't cross this line.
Against Kraft only.
Exactly. Check. Everybody else, because I heard Rob Gronkowski called a lot of charades. Another tight end got mentioned, if you will, but it was let him know. Not Robert Kraft. Smart.
It was pretty fun. In fact,
I can't wait to watch
and
it.
Bill Belichick was phenomenal.
Was he there?
Night. He was there. He spoke. He was fantastic. It's like, where has this guy been?
All he's been doing is winning.
Let me tell you, he's going to be. I never thought he is going to be great on the Manning cast. He is going to be great with Peyton and Eli.
Like what?
He was great with who's the guy on ESPN on YouTube?
Oh, Pat McAfee. Last week during the draft.
Yep, he was great with McAfee. He was great last night. He'll be great with Manning. In fact, he's joking about roast. He's like, Tom Brady's not the first New England Patriot to be roasted. There was a 10-part roast on me on Apple.
Yeah,
I mean, it was fantastic.
You know what it's kind of similar to, and obviously it's a little different. But remember Kobe? Like, it's something about these individuals that lock into a career for years, and they're so dialed in. Kobe was so dialed in from 1996 to when he hung him up in 2016. Remember instantly when Kobe hangs him up, he's doing podcasts, he's funny, you see him in the public space, he's like working with everybody, he's open, he's like, okay, this I like this Kobe. Same thing with Bill. He's been so locked into coaching, Ryan, since 85 or when it was with the Giants. Then he becomes a head coach, then he gets fired, then he becomes a head coach again. Now he's got to deal with his dynasty. He's so locked in that the person that he's been has always been there. He just couldn't let it out. And now Bill Belichick could be a head coach again.
He may be whatever he chooses to do, because
I wouldn't do it. He's having fun.
Well, again, the one great equalizer in life is time. It once the further you get away from something, the less minutia you remember about X, Y, or Z. Drew Bledsoe was fantastic last night.
He held that grudge for a long time. My God, his wife still doesn't like Tom Brady.
That's one of the things that he said. He was like, a lot of people think, there's animosity between, me and Tom, and that I don't like Tom. And Yeah, you're right. He was great. He made.
Hey man, don't tell me all the jokes.
Well, I'm
Jeez
sorry.
Louise.
I'm just
I'm
saying.
messing with
He
you.
made one off-color joke, and again, this is the part about jokes. Last night too, there was a 9/11 joke. There were ethnic jokes. There were racial jokes. There were jokes about murder.
Yeah.
There were jokes about everything. And you know what? At the end of the day, they were jokes.
Yeah.
And I think last night was the first time you have seen that kind of humor, and you saw a bunch of people on stage, whether it was Jeff Ross or Nikki Glaser or Kevin Hart or any of the Patriots that got up and spoke. You saw people that simply did not care about any kind of cancel culture or anything like that. They got up and they had a great time. We're going to play some of these clips for you. Okay, you ready?
Let's do it.
First of all, Rob Gronkowski, I saw this and I was like, whoa, what are you doing? He slams a shot glass and apparently somebody in the front row got hurt. Here, take a watch. I guess somebody did get hurt in the front row with that glass. Like
He spiked the glass.
Yeah, spiked the shot glass. Here is okay. So that one. Now this got a lot of attention today. Tom Brady joking about his favorite ring. Which one of the Super Bowl rings is your favorite?
Everybody asks me which ring is my favorite. I used to say the next one, but now that I'm retired, my favorite ring is the camera that caught Coach Belichick slinking out of that poor girl's house at 6 a.m. a few months ago. Hey, you still got it. Respect, baby.
Bill Belichick still got it. How great is that?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
First of all, Bill, let me ask you a question. You're sneaking out. You know, this is called the walk of shame for those of you that don't know what that is at 6 a.m., walking out with the same clothes on. But, Bill, where's your shirt?
Where's the shirt?
Bill, where's your shirt?
Bill, where'd it go?
We don't mind that you can. Hey, look, you're not married anymore. You're single. You can come and go as you please, obviously. But where's the shirt?
Oh my gosh.
Bill's having the time of his life right now.
Now
Shout out to Bill.
before we get to the next one on the rundown, Pete, let me skip over that one because I want to create a conversation about that one. Here's Tom Brady with a 9/11 joke.
The rest of America will always remember where I was that fateful day in September of 2001, when tragically those two jets slammed into Drew Bledsoe.
I mean,
you know what I love about this is you already talked about it. Everybody was comfortable. It didn't seem awkward in there. That whole room's not getting canceled.
Actually,
so this is the best.
It was awkward. That's the best part of the roast. All this stuff is awkward. All of this stuff is like
It's 3 hours worth. Like when did it? Okay, it's 3 hours worth. Like, when does it stop being awkward? Right. You just start laughing. Like, well, apparently they got permission.
Right, they got everybody.
They got
man.
permission. Look, I love it. Like, I absolutely love it. Sometimes you need to laugh, and I know there are people that are directly affected by this or involved in it, so they're not going to find that joke funny. But hey, look, it did what it was supposed to do. I'll say that without getting in trouble.
Oh my God, this is great stuff. All right, here's Tom Brady ripping on Chiefs fans.
The team is the loudest. It helps when all your fans are 14-year-old girls. And in honor of Tay-Tay, let's take a look at the Chiefs eras. Terrible for 50 years, good for 5. Shake it off.
And again, if you're having trouble hearing some of that audio, the only reason you may have the loudest stadium in the NFL is because your stadium's filled with 14-year-old girls.
That's great.
I mean, come on. Now, there was one person that was not there last night.
That's great.
That's great.
And it's not an off-color joke.
Right.
It's on color. It's funny as hell.
Right. There was one person who couldn't make it to the roast last night. His name was Eli Manning, but he did have this to say. He said, I thought about attending the roast of Tom Brady last night, but I did not want to roast him for a third time.
Eli, I'm so glad that Peyton came out of his shell when he did and started doing SNL, started doing commercials, because it's allowed Eli to come out of his shell. And Eli actually is funny as heck. When you watch that Manning cast, Eli is kind of the reason I watch from time to time, but didn't have to be there, and he caught another body. It's a great job by Eli.
Speaking of bodies,
there we go.
So here is some more uncomfortableness in the world of shock value. So this is the first, Tom Brady with a joke about Aaron Hernandez.
The bar for Patriot tight ends was pretty low back then. Block, catch, don't murder.
Now today, by the way, Aaron Hernandez's ex-fiance, offended by those jokes. She says her daughter will undoubtedly hear what was said about her father from men amused by this tragic death from someone she saw as her hero. Disgusted by the jokes that were made last night about Aaron Hernandez. Several of them. Again, everybody was on limits. There were nobody that was off limits, including O.J. Simpson.
O.J. Simpson's always going to be on limits.
Well, then.
When I heard there was a slow white Bronco heading down the 405 to come here tonight, I thought we might actually see a real football legend.
Going back to
please.
Getting back to the Aaron Hernandez thing. Again, I'm not trying to be political.
No.
Both sides are right. Both sides are right. Like if you're Aaron Hernandez's ex-fiance and you have the daughter, you understand that side. He was like, you shouldn't say these things.
For sure.
This is disgusting. She has every right to say that, and I agree. But on the other side, your ex-fiance was a murderer. Your ex-fiance, it's facts.
Both things can be true.
Exactly. Your ex-fiance was a murderer. He chose to murder those two individuals with that man that night. Like, so Tom Brady is correct. It was a low bar, and Rob Gronkowski never seemed to do the third one. So both things can be true. Did you laugh is the key, though.
Oh, man. Incredible stuff. What if, well, I think part of the laugh is the wow moments, the things that go unsaid that somebody finally says them, and you're like, oh, my gosh. Now, this is one of those examples. Yeah. This is being talked about so much, and it's in regards to Deflategate. Now, hear the audio, and then is this a tweet? Okay, tweet. This is a tweet because of the language. There's language on this. So this is the tweet. The NFL spent $20 million to prove more probably than not that deflated footballs happened. If I would have just been given the $20 million, I would have told you I bleeping did it. So Tom Brady, and again, I think the tone of this is very important. A lot of people are taking this as an admission that he stood up there before the crowd and admitted that he was the one that deflated the footballs. Far be it from me to disagree with the masses.
Yeah,
I took this to mean, hey man, if you give me $20, I'll tell you whatever you want to hear.
I haven't seen it, but that's what makes sense. Like, just even reading the joke, like, that's what makes sense. It's like, shoot, I'll be the fall guy for $20 million.
Yeah, the NFL, that quote was a little off. The NFL spent $20 million investigating on the Deflategate.
100%.
He's like, if you just came to me, gave me $20 million, I'd have told you I did it.
Exactly, because you're going to suspend me 4 out of that 4. You know, you look at the contract, I probably came up $16 million.
Right.
Looking at that, that's how I took it too. I got to see it so I can understand the tone, the voices, etc. But just reading it, that's the thing that comes to mind. It makes the most sense.
You know, Adam Schefter tweeted that quote out, not the video, but the quote. And it does, when you do read it, this is kind of where we are as media. I feel like most of us, people kind of pay attention to this stuff in passing. If you read that quote, I did it.
Yeah.
I would have told you I did it. It is, okay, this is Tom Brady's admission that after all these years, he deflated the football. And I again, maybe I'm, oh, you're a lover of Tom Brady, whatever. It's not the case. On a stage at a roast telling jokes, I think this was right in line with all of that.
I think people are more, because I agree with you, but I think a lot of people out there are like, that's how you get the truth out there.
Right.
I agree with that aspect. The truth right in the joke. You sneaking in the joke, really told you what happened. It's funny you talk about the end of that statement. What was OJ's book called?
If I did it.
I didn't do it, but if I did it, this is how I would have done it.
Right.
What?
That's right.
It could be some of that too. When you get to a certain level, like the reason why Tom Brady would do something like this is Tom Brady is what? He is untouchable. He is untouchable down there. They used to call it 1080, the penal code in Chicago, and that was for Al Capone. 1080 means you can't do anything. Tom Brady is untouchable. So that's why he goes up there and makes those comments. He felt great.
Right.
You could even see some of the jokes as he was reading them. He knew like, oh yeah, this is about to be it. Still said it, still went through it. He's untouchable. He's one of those guys, just like OJ.
Right.
OJ thought he was untouchable.
Unbelievable. One of the it is
He was.
Right. I never thought I would be as interested in that roast as I was. Like, as it kept going on, it's getting funnier and funnier, raunchier and raunchier, more revealing and more revealing, more wow moments with every speaker that came up.
So you watched the whole thing?
Yeah, it was wild. Now, I watched it on delay.
Okay.
Because, again, my live Netflix, it kept pausing every single. I can't tell you how frustrating it was. So
I heard the Cat Williams special because Cat was live on Saturday.
Perfect example.
I heard the same thing was happening with Cat.
So listen. So I know that Tom Brady. This is my last night. I know that Tom Brady's on, so I'm watching Tom Brady live. I'm so frustrated by the
delay.
By the delay,
skipping,
every third word, it seemed like it was freezing. So I went and watched the Cat Williams. Now, I love Cat Williams.
Yeah.
I think Cat Williams is probably, if not the funniest, one of the funniest men walking the face of the earth.
I love it.
I watched 22 minutes. The first 22 minutes, I didn't laugh one time.
Yeah.
And it was a big special about being woke. And
you know what it seemed like? And I'll speak from just whatever. It seemed like Shannon Sharp, the interview, the infamous one that set the internet on fire, really kind of started all the beef and everything. Like when Cat came out there, you got comedians beef with comedians, rappers, athletes. It seems like he got everything out.
Right.
And there's 3 hours and 13 minutes of being tipsy, high, whatever you want to say, funny, truth, mixing some things in. Then from then to now, getting some things out there, some other things he was trending. Seemed like that was it. It seemed like when you watch the special, it's like, oh, he emptied the clip.
Right.
He emptied the clip on the Shannon show, and now he's just telling us about what you see on social media or what you see in the news. Like, you gotta do better.
So, and again, it's for lack of a better way to say it too. Like, I am not offended by anything that Cat is saying, to be honest with you, because if anybody knows anything about me, it's probably
right,
kind of on the same
100% the wavelength
is just on a couple of different things about that. But he didn't tell any jokes. It was like
the reporter.
It wasn't a joke about this. It was like I was listening to a podcast, and he was just like sharing his feelings. So while I was like, nothing was like, I wasn't offended by anything he was saying, I tuned in to laugh.
What?
So if you tell a joke about that kind of stuff, fine. If you're just going to sit there and preach, just go do a podcast. So the forum was very confusing for me as the viewer.
And I agree 100%. Everybody's always going to say, you guys always agree. Well, we tend to agree with a lot of people.
Yeah,
that's
just all right.
People. We get things. He did a joke that was just so quick and witty when he was doing the Shannon Sharp podcast. It was a joke about golf. They asked him, he said, can you play golf? He said, my short game is impeccable. And obviously laughed because he's short. But then he started talking about golf, started talking about birdies, talking about how long he'd been playing, showing he had some golf knowledge. Then he said, have you ever played from the tips? He said, play from the tips. For what? He said, you mean to tell me I got to go 65 yards back that way to then hit the ball back this way, and I don't get any extra points for shooting back there? Hell, I changed to any pronoun that they would have me to shoot from the red tee. Johnny on the spot. Funny as I don't know what.
Great impression,
I appreciate
Braylon.
that, brother. Thank you
Great
so much.
impression.
Johnny on the spot. It was funny as heck. Ryan, you're right. That's what I was looking for. Instead, I got a street reporter.
Right.
Just telling me what's going on. I got Instagram. I got the news. I can read. Tell me a joke.
And again, just so after the Cat Williams, I go back to the Brady roast. And it's
funnier.
It's a perfect highlight that you can take any topic. And it could have been the woke stuff for Cat Williams. If you tell a joke, if you surround the topic with a joke, it's funny.
This is true.
And if you can't laugh at it, well, I'm sorry for you. If you can't laugh at jokes.
Yeah,
I'm sorry for you. But that is such a difference when you do the Brady and you compare and contrast it to the Cat Williams. There were no jokes in the Cat stuff. It was all jokes with the Brady roast. I thought it was fantastic. Even down to and here's where production value comes in, just back to the Brady.
Yeah.
It's a perfect example of production value. Drew Bledsoe is up there. and Drew Bledsoe says, look, Tom Brady's so woke, he even has his one black receiver up here on the stage with him.
Edelman?
No, Randy Moss. And he's like, and that black wide receiver has the whitest name ever. How many Randys do you He's like, Randy,
it's funny.
He says, it's funny. He says, Randy is almost as white of a name as Kevin. And it
Kevin Hart.
Cuts to Kevin Hart. And
that's
it
perfect.
was, the production value of that was priceless. And because as he's saying it, I'm like, Kevin, whatever.
Right.
And then they cut to Kevin Hart. You're like, that was funny.
You know what's funny is you talk about all the time. Time heals all wounds,
Yep.
and time is the great equalizer. You say. Just think about Drew Bledsoe 20 years ago. When he had been on the stage,
there you go.
Now he's on stage. Now he's reading the jokes. He's telling the jokes. He's funny. Now you're more interested in, What is Drew Bledsoe doing right now?
Right.
Bill Belichick. You don't think Bill Belichick's followers haven't gone up 2 million in the last 2 weeks?
Uh-huh.
That time is. If you're ready for the moment, though. If you're ready for the moment, time is definitely a great equalizer.
All right, here's the last one.
Right.
Bill Belichick on Rob Gronkowski.
A lot of people, kind of connected me with a saying called, do your job, and telling people to do their job. Gronk, I've been watching you on Fox NFL Sunday, and I'm begging you, please, stop doing your job.
That great or what? Belichick was fantastic last night.
You know what's great about that too is when you watch Bill in this space right here, you can tell that a lot of the dynasty stuff, we weren't in the building. We weren't in Foxborough. We weren't behind the scenes. But you can tell it was a lot of the people that over-exaggerate, over-embellish. You can tell there was a lot of that going on. Because his players always loved him.
Loved him.
And a lot of those players that caught nose, we did way more time than this. They came out right away. They were there, and they're laughing. This isn't the first time they laughed at Bill like this. I guarantee you. It's so crazy that all it took was for him to no longer be the head coach of the New England Patriots for everything to get figured out.
Right. Oh, God, there was a job thing in there, too, about Belichick not being able to get a job, and it was...
I can't wait.
It was fantastic.
I almost feel bad for why I didn't watch the roast. So my girl and I are addicted to American Idol. Oh. American Idol comes on Sunday, so after we got everybody out the house for the Cinco de Mayo, we ran upstairs and turned
Paula Abdul still doing that show?
No, her drunk self is no longer on the show. She is not.
Is Katy Perry still doing that show?
Lionel Richie.
Oh, I love Lionel Richie.
100%. And then Luke Combs. Bryan, excuse me. So, yeah, they're great. They're great hosts. The talent has been good. It's been a fun season. I know everybody's laughing. I'm watching American Idol. Look, my girl watched it. I got to watch it, too. But I actually like it.
Oh, man, great stuff. So, fun way to start the show, guys, on a Monday.
That's great.
We are going to take a break quickly. unbelievable weekend of everything, and we'll get some news from the NFL as well. Again, Tom Mazaway out today. Maz, man, I'll tell you, I can't wait to talk to Maz because the Kentucky Derby is like Christmas Day to him.
100%.
And he was at a wedding. I can't wait till tomorrow when he's able to paint a picture of how he watched this race.
No, he's got the perfect picture.
And the finish, we'll have that.
I got somebody that won that race.
Right.
It wasn't me.
Hey, what do I have here? I got it all. Swiss, okay.
And then
Thank
Planet.
you. All right, very good. Now a message from Swiss.
There you go, everybody. Now more than ever, it's critical for you to have your insurance reviewed. So head to Swiss Insurance, and they'll make sure that your carrier does not slip in extra fees or raise deductibles. Call Mark at Swiss Insurance today, 313-530-1516. 98. Again, that's 313-530-1698, or visit SwissINS.com. Bray.
Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential. That's where you need to be working out. Simply put, Squeaky Clean Gym, home of the judgment-free zone, and they have the 30-minute full-body total workout that you can do this right there set up for you with the clock ready to tap you in. $10 a month is all they charge. You see, the summer is upon us. It's May. Next month is June. That's when summer starts. You want to be summertime fine. Well, get it in gear. Get it at Planet Fitness.
Thank you to the Detroit Lions and Sheila Ham for the best season in Lions history. Now it's time to let Brad Holmes cook. Woodward Sports.
What's up, everybody? Neil Rule, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, home of the Planet Fitness Studios. Let me tell you a little personal story about myself with Planet Fitness. Planet Fitness helped me change my life, and it can do the same for you. The best gym in the gym game. The clean facilities, tons of cardio equipment, tons of weights as well. And look, through all the price increases, inflation, all that, hasn't happened at Planet Fitness. Still $1 down, $10 per month, $24.99 a month for the Black Card as well. It's Planet Fitness, everybody, where your fitness is essential.
To any Lady Jane's haircuts for men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week, walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week, walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's haircuts for men, it's wicked awesome.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Congratulations to the real Coach of the Year, Motor City Dan Campbell.
Just put your head down and go to work. It's about to be fun, man. It's about to be fun.
Woodward Sports.
Hey, gang, want a pre-owned vehicle? How about a new one? Look no further than Les Stanford Chevrolet, Cadillac, Buick, GMC. All 4 GM brands now under the Les Stanford umbrella. Buick GMC store located in Ferndale on Woodward Avenue, just south of 9 Mile. And, of course, if you're looking for a Chevy or a Cadillac, Les Stanford, great deals over there on Michigan Avenue in the great city of Dearborn, where they have been for over 55 years. All 4 GM brands under that Les Stanford umbrella. LesStanford.com, LesStanford.com. Together, let's drive. And you can drive on over to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. When a guy can be a guy, that's what awesome is, and get an amazing haircut. That's Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Stop in, sit back, relax. Let one of Lady Jane's talented stylists make you look and feel great. You could walk in anytime, 7 days a week. Lady Jane's. It's wicked awesome. So incredible stuff over the weekend, guys. We'll get to the NBA NHL playoffs in just a minute. I thought about Tom Mazaway on Saturday, Bray, because as I mentioned in the last segment, he's out today driving home from Nashville. He was at a wedding in Nashville during his beloved Kentucky Derby race. I mean, when you call Maz, his ringer is the trumpets, the call to the post. Yeah. So I imagined him watching the Kentucky Derby, and it was an incredible finish. One of the great finishes of all time. At the wire, it was Mystic Dan at 18-1 odds who won the 150th Kentucky Derby. Over $200 million bet on this race. That is a new record. The attendance was over 156,000. Mystic Dan was first. Sierra Leone second. What do you call that? Show? Place. And Forever Young Show, the third place horse. Now, Forever Young, man, I thought Sierra Leone should have been disqualified. Sierra Leone got right into Forever Young, and the jockey, you could see, was whipping
Forever Young.
Forever Young.
Yeah. 100% I agree, but I had Sierra Leone, so I didn't have any problem with it until I get beat at the end. You know why I'm pissed? Sometimes you want people to say things, Ryan. On Saturday, my mentor, shout out to Dan. Daniel Russell, invited myself and my lady to a surprise birthday party for his wife, which we know well, love that family to death. So it was all right, bet we'll go down. He and his boy Mike, shout out to Mike and Ingrid, they came as well. They bet on the horses. I bet too. I bet Sierra Leone due to the information I was given from Pete Maz. I didn't even know there was a Mystic Dan in the race. If he would have told me, hey, what horse you betting on? I'm betting on Mystic Dan. The fact that I'm supposed to hang out with my mentor, his name is Dan, he's betting on Mystic Dan, I would have took the action.
Seriously.
Instead, Mystic Dan, he bet 100, he won 2,000.
Get out of here.
100%. Needless to say, appreciate dinner. It was amazing.
Unbelievable. But that was just one of the fantastic finishes
Second most
yesterday.
watched Kentucky Derby.
It was the most watched Kentucky Derby since 1989. The actual numbers will come out later today. NBC and Peacock delivered the most watched since 1989. Again, Mystic Dan won the photo finish there. The numbers, official numbers, come out later today. Now, that Kentucky Derby race was not to be outdone by last night's NASCAR race. Now, I don't know how many people are watching NASCAR on FS1. I don't know what's gotten into me. I do like watching NASCAR now, and I was going back and forth, switching back and forth. I love it. Yeah. Look at this photo finish.
Wow, this looks like this looks like Cars.
This is like the movie Cars.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
McQueen.
Yes, Lightning McQueen.
I mean, Kyle Larson,
wow,
edged out Chris Buescher by 0.0001. The 5 car hits the nose first.
Wow, damn it, the 5 beat the 17?
The 5 beat the 17.
How is that even possible to calculate?
I don't even know.
I get it in track. Wow.
Yeah, isn't that something?
Yeah, kids in track are running 20 miles per hour. That's a little different.
I don't even know how that is calculated like that.
Wow.
0.0001.
This is just one of those weekends in sports. From the Kentucky Derby to NASCAR. Maybe I gotta start watching NASCAR a little bit more. Anthony Edwards. It's just been a hell of a week.
And again, a photo finish essentially on Saturday night as well. In overtime, the Maple Leafs and the Bruins.
Sorry, Tom.
Right? The game is tied at 1, and the Bruins score in overtime. They advance to beat the Toronto Maple Leafs, and they are now moving on. But Toronto, once again, cannot get out of the first round. In fact, Braylon, with Dallas winning last night, they beat the Golden Knights, the defending Stanley Cup champion Las Vegas Golden Knights, 2-1 to advance to the Western semis. All 8 favorites in the first round of the hockey playoffs are moving on. I don't think we've seen that in a very, very long time. We talk a lot about the hockey playoffs being one of the most unpredictable playoffs that you can have.
Yeah.
All 8 favorites move on.
Yeah, we were just talking about this. You know, you talk about the last 2 years in the NHL playoffs, with the exception of this season. The 1 beat the 8 seed. I mean, the 8 beat the 1 seed.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about the Bruins a couple years ago. You talk about the Florida Panthers a couple years ago. So typically that's what Carolina, the Hurricanes, I want to say, were a 2 seed and lost to a 7 seed. So that's typically what's been happening, and it's been making hockey so interesting to watch. I talked about it before. I think hockey is the most watchable playoffs going into this year, although basketball is starting to have something to say about that. But for this to be the first time where all favorites won, maybe it's a tide turning in hockey. Maybe these teams that are 1 through 4, maybe they're getting it right.
Yeah, maybe they are getting it right. I do like the upset in hockey.
Yeah.
We didn't get any of that this year, and that's fine. Now, if this becomes a trend, maybe the way teams go about just trying to get in will be different. How many times do we say, hey, the Red Wings just need to get in? Teams that are fighting on the back end of the playoffs just to try to get in. You're saying, well, an 8 seed can beat a 1 seed. A 7 seed can beat a 2 seed. It doesn't matter. I'm curious to know if in hockey that mindset will change if this continues for another year or another 2 years, if the way teams go about just trying to get in will change.
I think that's what Maz and I were talking about when we were talking about the Red Wings this year. Before you've talked about it, 8's beating a 1, a 7's beating a 2. You just get in, you got an opportunity. That's kind of been the NHL playoffs the last couple years. But the Red Wings this year, I kept asking the questions. Even if they make it in, like even if they have this tremendous run, or even if they get the wins when they're supposed to, and they get into the NHL playoffs, do they have enough to win around? Do they have enough to go up against one of these juggernauts, which you see what they have done this first round of the playoffs? Did they even have enough? And the answer is no. And I think this let them know. So I'm actually glad that they didn't make it, because I feel if they would have made it, they would have got swept, and that might have been a further setback as opposed to just getting close.
Yeah, so something to keep an eye on. And then the basketball playoffs have been pretty darn good as well. There was a Game 7 yesterday. Cleveland did beat Orlando, so Cleveland is moving on right now.
Donovan Mitchell
was fantastic. That was a series where the home team won every single game in that 7-game series. So, now you have a situation where Cleveland is going to go play Boston. Series starts tonight. It's going to be a fantastic series, I think. Indiana and New York. You think back to the old Reggie Miller, John Starks, Patrick Ewing's series. And then Anthony Edwards, what he's done for the Minnesota Timberwolves is – I can't help. Now, we've seen a game in this series. Game 2 of that series is actually tonight. Anthony Edwards was the best player on the floor at 22 years old the other night against the defending champs from Denver. He completely took that game over, scored 43 points, and Minnesota won by 7 points in that first game. Braylon Edwards, I cannot help but look at Anthony Edwards at 22 years old and say, man, the Pistons really just nothing is going right for this franchise. Even when they have the number 1 pick, there's no Karl Anthony Towns out there. There's no Anthony Edwards out there.
100%.
There's nobody like that out there for them.
Paolo Banchero even.
Paolo Banchero.
I mean,
it's a great example.
The Magic fought tooth and nail, man, and he was definitely him and Franz Wagner. But Paolo Banchero, you see what he's done to turn that franchise around. Come on, NBA, why won't you give us one? Why won't you give us the right draft with the right player? Watch we get the number 1 pick.
They're going to get it this year.
And who the hell we drafted?
I don't even know the player's name from France.
It's not Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. Back to Anthony Edwards, my cousin, same last name, you see it. Ryan, his last 6 games, 43 last night, 40 the game to close out the Suns, 36 the game before that, 41 the game before that, 38 the game before that, the one in which he dunked on KD after he told him it was his favorite player. The reason why we love him and we keep talking about it is because the competition level. He does not care that Jokic was on the court. He don't care about Michael Porter Jr. He doesn't care about Aaron Gordon. He doesn't care about anything but doing what he needs to do for this team to win. Rudy Gobert doesn't show up half the time. I forget he's Defensive Player of the Year every year. He doesn't play like it. Karl Anthony Towns, I ain't heard his name since the three-point contest that he won last season. Meanwhile, Anthony Edwards is lacing up those Adidas every game, and he's putting on the show. He's putting this, I don't want to say the league. The league is in good hands, but he's showing you this is a transitional period in the NBA. Steph is about to be done. LeBron is about to be done. KD, insert superstar here who's a little old, is over the hill, is out of here. Who's going to take over? I know it's Jokic NBA, but who really wants it?
That's a great point, Braylon. And, I think after game 1, you look at the landscape of the league because the NBA, more so than any other league, is about the individual superstar.
100.
The individual superstar in the NBA matters more to that league than any other league out there.
That's why they have the best player association.
Absolutely. And, look at any sport. Take player X off any team.
You'll be all right.
And they're still going to be okay. You're still going to root for that winged wheel. You're still going to root for the NFL team. You're still going to root for that Old English D. It doesn't matter. You're still going to root for the Pinstripes. Even though Derek Jeter's gone, you still root for the Yankees. They're still in first place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In basketball, it's a little bit different because you had Magic and Larry. You had Michael Jordan. You had Kobe Bryant. You had Shaquille O'Neal. You had LeBron James. And now you have who? The NBA has lost half of its audience since Michael Jordan left the league. That's just a fact, at least in this country. Now, it is a more global sport. You do have more eyeballs globally.
Yeah.
But here in this country, the NBA has lost half of its audience since Michael Jordan left.
What do you think is going to happen when the argument is dead, when it's no more Jordan and LeBron because LeBron is still playing? They're going to lose another 20% once LeBron hangs them up.
If you look at the superstars in this league and, say what you will about it, but it's Jokic, it's Giannis, it's Doncic,
Luka.
It's now the guy
Jason Tatum.
Jason Tatum. Okay, Jason Tatum is good, but Jason Tatum is a quiet player that never has said anything wrong, that has never done anything wrong, that has never taunted a player, that has never said a bad word to a fan.
SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Okay, fine.
SGA.
Nobody knows who he is.
You're right. Plays in OKC.
Maybe that will change during this playoff. Who's the kid that the Pistons didn't get number 1 overall?
Paulo
San
Banchero.
Antonio.
Oh, Victor Wembanyama. There you go.
The 4 players that I mentioned are all international superstars.
This is true.
They're all international superstars, which I'm not sure any of those men, including Nikola Jokic, wants to be the face of the NBA when LeBron James and Steph Curry leaves. This Anthony Edwards person has, I think, could carry the weight of American basketball on his shoulders right now.
Yeah.
He has absolutely everything that you could possibly want in a great player. First of all, his skills are phenomenal. He's absolutely fantastic. He has the charisma, the smile. He's a great-looking young man.
Yeah.
He is young. He's 22 years old. He could be the face of the league for the next 15 years. This kid has everything you could possibly want, other than I'm sure they don't particularly care for him that he's in Minnesota.
I was thinking,
and maybe he'll get out of Minnesota sooner rather than later. You never know. I hope he stays in Minnesota.
Yeah.
But this is a player that could absolutely be the next face of the NBA basketball.
I hope he stays in Minnesota, too. If you look at the players that were dominant, the players that kind of set the league on fire, or they took over the torch, they stayed in the same city for a very long time. I know LeBron James went down to Miami, but for the first 8-9 years in the NBA, he was in Cleveland. He got to a finals in Cleveland. He was carrying the moniker. Kobe, another guy that stayed with the Lakers for 20 years. Tim Duncan, if you like him or not, 20 years stayed with the same team. Jordan stayed with the Bulls for the first 12 years of his career, and that's where he won all his championships. So that's why I want him to stay in Minnesota. But you're right. You know what it is, Ryan? He's American. For whatever you want to say, America loves the American stars. They don't like seeing foreign players dominate American sports. Jokic doesn't even get the credit he deserves a lot of time because of the discrediting, because he's a foreign player. Victor Wembanyama, we're yet to see what he can do. Luka, how many times you see, he's lazy, he's not a leader, he's this, he's that. It's a lot of American media people, a lot of American journalists discrediting the foreign players. This is America. You do not want these guys to come over here, dominate. Anthony Edwards was born and raised here. He's from Georgia. He's likely to take over if he can handle the pressure, which it seems so far he can.
But even if you just go by Jokic, okay? Jokic, he's just and there's nothing wrong with this. I'm not taking a shot at him. He's boring. There's
and he leaves as soon as the season's over. He's back in Slovakia.
He's a very boring player. Doncic, you're right.
Slovenia.
There is a laziness feel to his game, and I don't mean that in a negative way. It's just he looks so sloppy
at his own
out there.
pace.
And honestly, Doncic is a huge crybaby out there. All he does is complain to the officials. He cries to the officials all the time. I think that is a little off-putting.
What happens with the foreign game? Is they're playing against grown men at an early age, Ryan. So they mature faster. They mature faster. They're playing against men. They learn how to play that way. They come over here. They've been playing at a high level for a long time. They're very about the game. It's not about anything else. That's kind of how their pickup games are over there. It's just about the game, if you will. Over here, you grow up a certain way. You're playing in the neighborhood. You're playing on the playground. You're playing in high school. You're playing AAU. It's the rivalry. It's the stuff talking. It's what number are you on Rivals? What stars are you going to? What camps have you been going to? So that kind of competition level is created at a very young age over here. You don't see that necessarily over there. When they come over here, they're chill, they're reserved, they're grown men. The kids over here, like Anthony Edwards, still learning the game, still learning how to process teammates and coaches and things like that. So it's just a more loud version over here. They're like grown men when they come over here. Like Victor Wembanyama is 19. You would think he's 26 and been playing the way he's polished at the podium, the way in which he's just about the game. So it's just different.
No doubt about it. So that is something to keep an eye on. And I am, I'm a pretty nostalgic guy.
Yeah.
I do like this series with the Knicks and the Pacers.
Okay.
I mean, this feels like that early 90s, that Reggie Miller, Spike Lee out there, and I think Halliburton can play that role.
Okay.
That Reggie Miller role a little bit.
He talks some stuff.
Absolutely.
He said some things.
No doubt. And look, the Knicks.
Jalen Brunson's not backing down.
No doubt. The Knicks are as fun a basketball team to watch that plays in the 90s and the low hundreds that you'll ever see. I mean,
play together.
They get after it. That is legitimately a team. That is a basketball team over there. And, of course, Jalen Brunson is the leader of that ball club, but my goodness, do they play together.
Love how they play the game of basketball together. DiVincenzo, Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, same team, 2-time national championships at Villanova, and they just play together. You see Oganobi. You see him making plays. He's a highlight reel for them above the rim. They're a fun team to watch, but they play together. And then also it's the atmosphere. It's the atmosphere. Now you're watching the Knicks. You're seeing Spike Lee stand up again. You're seeing stars. You're seeing Jerry Seinfeld. You're seeing Ben Stiller. You're seeing the stars at the game. And let's cut the stuff. Madison Square Garden is where it's at. I don't care whatever arena you watch. When you watch Madison Square Garden for an event, it's the Mecca. So they got the Mecca live right now.
No doubt.
Yeah.
So, Bray, you've got 4 series remaining. Okay, you've got the Celtics and the Cavs. Okay, you've got the Knicks and the Pacers.
Okay.
You've got the T-Wolves and the defending champion Nuggets. And then you have the OKC Thunder and the Dallas Mavericks. What is the best conference matchup for the NBA, and what is the best finals matchup for the NBA? Let's just go series by series. Celtics, Cavs. Don't tell me who you think should win. Tell me
who's best.
Who's best for the NBA?
Celtics.
Okay. Celtics, obviously. Knicks, Pacers.
Knicks.
Obviously. Denver, the T-Wolves.
T-Wolves.
I think you're right about that.
T-Wolves.
I think getting Anthony Edwards
getting the machine
agree.
behind them, like the marketing machine. They beat the Timberwolves. I don't even care if they go to the finals or not. They beat they beat the Nuggets. Now it validates the Jordan comparisons. We know he's not Jordan. He's got a long ways to go. He's got to win a championship. He's got to win an MVP. But darn if those highlights don't look very similar. And the thing about it, he gets better during the year. He's a better player now than he was at the start of the year.
So I'm curious to see who you think it's better for the NBA if OKC or Dallas wins.
I struggle with this one because a lot of America doesn't like Kyrie Irving. Like, a lot of America doesn't like Kyrie Irving. And
he's playing as good a basketball as he has played in his entire career.
And not getting any of the credit he deserves because of people feel a type of way about him. A lot of people don't like Kyrie Irving. I love him. You know that.
I do too.
A lot of people don't like Luka. I like Luka too.
I do too.
100%.
Yep.
But I think from the standpoint of talking about the young stars, talking about trying to move the game in a new direction, Chet Holmgren of the OKC, and obviously an MVP candidate in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, you talk about people don't know him. Well, this is a way for people to get to know him. So I think OKC would be better.
I'm going to disagree with you on that.
Okay. Finally.
And for all of the reasons that you said about a little people, you got to have somebody you want to root against.
Luka is
too. I think Luka's that guy. I think Kyrie's that guy.
True.
I think you got to have somebody that you root against, and it doesn't help that Dallas is a big market. When you look in the Western Conference, you see Minnesota, Denver, Oklahoma City, and Dallas. You got to get a big market in there. So Dallas.
That's why Dirk down there did well for so long.
Right. So I'm going to say, how about Minnesota, Dallas,
okay,
Boston, New York.
Okay, so now who's best?
New York for sure.
Versus
Dallas.
New York and Dallas.
I think Dallas over Minnesota.
Okay.
Unless this Anthony Edwards train just continues to heat up.
Minnesota.
People in the chat, get with me.
Dallas.
What is
Anthony Edwards?
What is the NBA Finals that you want to see? Yeah. What NBA Finals do you think the NBA wants to have?
Although it's different, LeBron had much hype behind him, the most hype ever. Maybe Victor Wembanyama is equal or a little bit more. But other than that, nobody else had as much hype as LeBron. LeBron got to the NBA Finals in 4 years. 4 seasons. It took him 4 seasons. And then he was in Cleveland, decent market, but not the biggest market. But LeBron from then on, media market, the machines behind him, he gets there, he gets swept against the San Antonio Spurs. So what? They made it. They were 66-16 that year. I think it's the same with Anthony Edwards. This is year 3 for him, correct?
Yep.
1, 2, 3. This is 20, 21, 22. I think this is year 4.
Yep, 4.
There it is. It's year 4. It's time for him to get out there and do something. They surprised some people, LeBron and that team, by going. They surprised the Pistons. We're talking about they surprised some people. They beat the Pistons. Pistons were no more. This is something that Minnesota, they could beat the Nuggets, then they could beat Dallas, then they could jump that spot.
So the people in the chat are weighing in. Ninja says Wolves Celtics. Now, I understand that Boston is the best team, but if you have an opportunity to get the
Lakers
Knicks,
and Celtics.
To me, the Knicks in the finals, that's a slam dunk. Jay says Knicks and Minnesota. IT Hips. Knicks versus Thunder. But the NBA would want Denver-Boston.
Yeah.
RJ says, don't want Minnesota. I would like the Pistons to win. I guess the front office is not serious about running a winning basketball team. It's so sad. GW the Kid, OKC, Minnesota, and Indiana, Boston. Minnesota versus Boston for the championship.
This is why I won't say Boston is the big. Obviously, Celtics are the second biggest franchise in the NBA behind the Lakers, and I think they're 1 in 4 or 5 in sports, period. The Celtics have been to the finals twice. They have lost twice. They lost to a Golden State team that shouldn't even have been there, in my estimation, and go on to beat them. How many times do you want to see Jason Tatum come up short? Here's a new situation with Jalen Brunson. It's the Knicks. It's the Madison Square Garden. It's popping again. Like, we've seen the Celtics same song and dance over and over again.
Paul says the NBA wants to crown Anthony Edwards, not Joker, Ryan. Anthony Edwards is an American, and he's black. The NBA wants that. Now, Joker, look, I don't think that's the worst thing in the world to have a good-looking, great black player be the face of the NBA.
It's been that way.
That's all we've known.
That's all we've known.
Right? That's all we've known for 40 plus years.
Since,
you know what I mean? For 45 years since Magic Johnson.
Probably say
Larry Bird. You know.
So once Michael came,
that was it. Yeah. You know, it's an interesting take. And again,
but see, you know the difference. Not to cut you off. The difference though, and how those kind of took place. Back in that day, Ryan, those individuals, the guys that came before, the guys who were going to take over, they crowned him by the league. Exactly. Larry Bird and Magic said, like Jordan's the best.
Right.
They crowned him when they were still playing. Nowadays, you can't get the players to validate who's next. You got guys say, he's good, he's this, that, and third, but they're not just saying, hey, it's him, it's this guy.
Now, just because, and I really mean this, just because Joker is a white guy and Luka is a white guy, I don't think the NBA says we can't have them be the face of our league. I think those are 2 foreign-born players. One is very boring, the most dominant player in the game, but
Jokic
does so very boring. he is so boring. He's better in the Gru commercials than he is on the floor.
Yeah,
he is. You know what I mean?
The scarf.
Yeah. And for Luka, I think there's an element of being a total crybaby out there that rubs a lot of people the wrong way.
Yeah,
I think that.
Yeah, and that's why I said what I said, but after the way you phrase it, you may be right. That may be why you need Dallas. You need a villain. Like the Celtics were the villains of the league with Berg, McHale, and Parrish. Like, hey, these guys are horrible. They're villains. They played that role well, and they won 3 championships out of it. But you might need that.
Right. Cartier says Ermanni loves to mention he's good looking. And I think that's very important. If you're the face of any league, I think you've got to be good looking.
Sam Cassell was never the face of the NBA.
You know, you look at Derek Jeter, the face of baseball.
Yeah.
Great looking guy. Michael Jordan, great looking guy. LeBron James, pretty good looking guy. Tom Brady, great looking guy.
Yeah.
You know, these things matter, I think.
They do. It's so funny in our community. Our community is different. Like black men, we cannot ever say another man. It's just how we conditioned to grow up. Like, you guys are honest, and it's true. But like, we'll be like, man, yeah, all right, he cool. He cool.
You know, I mean,
he look like he in shape.
Right. I mean, you look at Sidney Crosby. Is a pretty darn good looking guy. You know,
take your word for it.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm messing with you, but you're telling us the truth. Leagues are going to choose an individual that looks the part. They're going to choose a guy that looks the part, choose a woman that looks the part, I think. So, yeah, I agree with you on that regard, in that regard. Although Peyton Manning was funny looking.
Come on, Steve. Steve says, if attractiveness matters, Ermanni shouldn't be on. Well, I'm not the face of anything. You know what I mean? Just the face of me. Lions. Ermanni just confirmed what we all thought. I speak my mind, and I'll never lie to you. I just say what is the truth.
And now I can come to the boys' defense, you guys in chat. People are so insecure and crack. I know there was a roast last night, but those jokes are cornball.
Now this is my roast.
It's all good. I got your back.
Guys, a revelation today about Kirk Cousins on why he left the Minnesota Vikings.
Whoa.
You will never believe why. We'll have that for you next.
Does it have the question answer why they drafted Penix too?
But first, a message from us here at WSN.
Everybody head to shop.woodwardsports.com right now and load up on some brand new Detroit sports wearables, the hoodies, the tees, and the hats that are guaranteed to turn heads. Get your family something. Get your friends something. Head to shop.woodwardsports.com right now and load on up. Also, maybe you can get your pets something. Give your pets the best. Premier Pet Supply is hands down Michigan's best pet store. Same prices and all the conveniences of the online and big box realtors, with one major difference: family and locally owned and operated for 30 years. Over 60 brands of food with nutrition experts there to help you same day, local curbside, and home delivery. Premier Pet Supply. Give your pet the best at www.premierpetsupply.com. We'll be right back.
Congratulations to the real coach of the year, Motor City Dan Campbell.
Just put your head down and go to work. It's about to be fun, man. It's about to be fun.
Woodward Sports.
What's up, everybody? Neil Rule, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, home of the Planet Fitness Studios. Let me tell you a little personal story about myself with Planet Fitness. Planet Fitness helped me change my life, and it can do the same for you. The best gym in the gym game. The clean facilities, tons of cardio equipment, tons of weights as well. And look, through all the price increases, inflation, all that hasn't happened at Planet Fitness. Still $1 down, $10 per month, $24.99 a month for the Black Card as well. It's Planet Fitness, everybody, where your fitness is essential.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit sports.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? a baby stroller for Coda. A chef for Lola, really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supply has everything that your pet can dream of, and guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out premierpetsupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets?
Nobody! You smell that? That's Brad Holmes cooking, and the off-season smells good. Woodward Sports.
Nashville Hot is back, but I keep telling you it is for a limited time only, so get yourself down to Soroki so you can taste that Nashville Hot sandwich or the pizza or the wings or the Nashville Hot fries. All are very spicy, muy caliente if you will, but I think you guys can handle it. If you don't want that, if it's too much for your palate, just get the crispy chicken or the pizza. You get some of that, it is amazing. Also, fresh sides, fresh salads, what could be better? Nashville Hot is back, limited time. Take yourself down to Soroki's.
So this is an interesting one, and welcome back. Hour number 2 of the program. Ryan Ermanni, Braylon Edwards, Tom Mazaway out today, coming back from Nashville, Tennessee. He was at a wedding over the weekend. He'll be back tomorrow. Yeah. Pete Spivak with us. Great job today, Pete. You are on your game today. Really appreciate that. Silent Mike, you are on your game as well. Great to see you.
He speaks when you talk about Drake and Kendrick.
Yeah, absolutely. I just went to fill up my water, actually, and they were talking about it on TMZ.
They were.
Drake and Kendrick. I mean, you can't...
you know Howie's not going to miss any time.
No, gossip. He's not. Yeah. So I saw this, and I am pretty intrigued by this. You ready for it?
Ready. Hit me with it.
This from Albert Breer. One of the big reasons Kirk Cousins decided to leave Minnesota this offseason was because the Vikings told him they were going to draft a quarterback high for the future. He did not want them to draft use a high round pick on a quarterback of the future, so he said, I'm leaving Minnesota. And then you go to Atlanta, and they do the exact same thing that you left. I think when you're the quarterback at the end of your career and you are in go-for-it mode a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, we can revisit the Penix thing all you want. We've all done that ad nauseum.
Yeah.
And we've kind of put the blame on, well, who cares if Cousins offended? Well, this was a dumb thing from Atlanta. But from this perspective, how didn't Atlanta know that that's why he was leaving Minnesota and choosing Atlanta? That was just a 6-week time period. So you have a quarterback that says, I'm not returning to the team, the franchise that I've been with the last 4 years because they told me they're going to draft a quarterback high, use a high round pick on a quarterback, and I'm not in a position to do that. We need all the help we can get now to pursue a Super Bowl run. Now, whether you think Atlanta can make it to the Super Bowl or not, Kirk Cousins believes that, and I think that's all that matters.
You know what, Ryan? I'm going to take a step back, and I'm going to try to assess this a different way. Maybe Kirk Cousins didn't say anything to the Atlanta Falcons on why he left in terms of they were taking a quarterback. And the reason why, if you're running from competition, then do you still truly believe in yourself? Do you still truly believe you can be Kirk Cousins that won a playoff game against Drew Brees? Do you still believe you can be the guy that throws for 5,000 yards? Now, if I'm a GM or an owner and I hear this is the reason why you left, now I got to take a step back and say, if he's scared of competition potentially, I mean, we understand he still has a couple good years left and he wants to use those years. But if this is the mindset, then we got the mindset of a guy who doesn't necessarily fully trust himself. And if that's what his camp thought, then maybe that's why he didn't say anything, and maybe Atlanta was never privy.
Well, I don't know if you I hear what you're saying, but I don't know if you offer somebody $100 million that's going to compete for a job. You know, that's your guy. If you're going to pay somebody $100 million, you're not paying them $100 million to compete. You're paying him $100 million to go out there and perform at a very high level, at a top 10 quarterback level. I think that's why you pay somebody $100 million, whether you're Minnesota offering $100 million or you're Atlanta, who ultimately paid the $100 million.
Yeah, true. I mean, this is true, but like I said, athletes' mentals they're very fragile. They're very fragile, and if you understand this and you say, "Hey, look, this guy doesn't necessarily trust himself. He's scared. Why am I going to pay him $180 million?"
And it's been that way over time. I mean, Joe Montana didn't want Steve Young,
and he left and went to the Chiefs.
Right. Tom Brady didn't want Jimmy Garoppolo.
Or Matt Castle.
Brett Favre didn't want Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers didn't want Jordan Love. I do think when you're again, I don't see it as a competition thing. I see it as an end of career thing, and we're X, Y, and Z close to a Super Bowl. You better use your first round pick to go get an impact player in a position of need.
This is true.
Instead of a position that is going to benefit. It's like a head coach, right?
So you're saying Minnesota should have kept Kirk Cousins and not drafted J.J. McCarthy?
No.
Okay.
I'm saying that if you're Atlanta and you knew why, and I assume you know why, and maybe that's my first assumption. You're saying Atlanta didn't know.
Yeah.
I think it's great that Minnesota was upfront with Kirk Cousins, and Kirk Cousins said ultimately they communicated and said, "Look, this isn't going to work for me. Okay, you move on." If Atlanta knew that Kirk Cousins left Minnesota, and the reason why he left was because they told him they were going to draft a high-round quarterback, well, then not only did you waste $100 million on Kirk Cousins, you have wasted $100 million on now a disgruntled Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
You might be right. I don't know. Maybe he never plays for them.
I'm telling you, I just see the similarities in the not Fitzpatrick, but Matt Flynn and Russell Wilson situation. It just doesn't seem like a team that was fully invested. Look, at the end of the day, the $180 million, they can walk. This guy, Arthur Blank, has money, can walk away. You saw what Denver did to Russell Wilson walking away from that money. So you put yourself in a situation. It's an easy to win division. Not easy. I'm not going to say that. It still is the NFL, but it's one of the more easier divisions that you can win. Baker Mayfield and the Bucs are the toast of that division. You get a quarterback in Kirk Cousins that's gotten to the playoffs consistent years, a walking playoff guy. Just for now, in the interim period, you're like, hey, Kirk Cousins might win us the division. Now your quarterback is there for the future. Let's take him too.
Tiger Town says it's like leaving your ex, finding out she cheated on you, and then you meet the new girl and you find out she cheats on you too.
Yo,
shout
out to Tiger Town.
It's kind of funny, right? I mean, that is kind of exactly what that is about. And again, whether you're a quarterback or a coach, go back to Bob Quinn, Matt Patricia. Okay. Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia, in their last draft, and they're faced with a chance to take Tua Tagovailoa or Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
Okay. They're faced or get good now. And again, we all know how it worked out. But get good now. Get a player at a position of need right now to help you. You get Jeff Okudah. That's how you get Jeff Okudah, right?
He'll be catching strays for the rest of the time in Detroit.
I guess my point is Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia were in win now mode.
Yeah.
A rookie quarterback behind Matthew Stafford was not going to help them ever.
This is true.
So when a coach and a general manager kind of have that mindset, and ultimately those two men lost their jobs over that decision. But when a coach and a GM have that win now mindset and really mortgage the future of the franchise because you're in win now mode, I think quarterbacks and players on any team are similar in that. You're running out of years. You are running out of time in this league, and you want every possible chance to win today. You don't care about the Atlanta Falcons 4 years from now. You care about the Atlanta Falcons 4 months from now.
Quinn Trisha did a lot wrong. It's a lot that they got wrong, and they were escorted out of the Detroit city limits 100%, out of actually the state of Michigan, if you will. And I understand it. One thing I didn't necessarily punish them for or say this, that, and the third is hindsight on Jeff Okudah. Hindsight with Jeff Okudah, we saw he wasn't a guy that could play. He wasn't worth the third pick overall. But in hindsight, you look back, now that you have this information about winning now versus winning, you don't draft the backup quarterback. You don't draft whatever. You don't draft Herbert. You don't draft Tua. You take Jeff Okudah because he's from Ohio State. If you had looked at the track record of Ohio State DBs up until that point, Ohio State was not only now they're wide receiver you, they were DBU at one point. Marshawn Lattimore. You look at Malcolm Jenkins. You look at Denzel Ward. Denzel Ward was the highest paid defensive back of all time just 2 years ago. You look at the DBs that came out of there, Arnaz was another good one. So if you're looking at that track record, you need a DB. You need a guy to come in now. What better school at the time than Ohio State? What better position to draft at Ohio State outside defensive line at the time? So it was a good pick in thought. He just happened not to be the one.
Yeah, good pick in thought.
What if Sauce Gardner was a bust?
Right.
It'd be the same thing, but he wasn't.
Yeah, and I hear that, but I think a lot of people, as Matt Stafford was coming up to the end of his Lions career, you saw, and I think it was more Tua than Justin Herbert, but a lot of people thought that was the time that you take your quarterback there in the top three, and they didn't do that, and it ultimately
quarterbacks are sensitive.
Yeah,
they want to make it wide receivers are so sensitive. This seems to be the narrative. Every time you have to replace a quarterback of note, you just named 5 situations over the course of the last 30 years, and all of them did what? They were like, nah, not me, I'm out. Warren Moon, it happened to him. You said Joe Montana, it happened to him. Tom Brady eventually. It happened to Peyton Manning. They said, hey, your neck's broke. We'll see you later. Here's Andrew Luck.
And speaking of Tom Brady, too, Tom Brady last night, they were joking about him coming out of retirement. And they're like, dude, please stay retired.
Yeah.
But I do think Tom Brady wants to play again.
100%.
I do think he wants to play again. I think he loves to be in the limelight. I think he loves to have people say great things about him. I think he likes to do things that people have never done before. I don't think I would not be shocked to see him suit up. I don't think it's going to happen, but I wouldn't be shocked. Those are two different things.
At the end of the day, when you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. There's a reason why you see Tom Brady showing 40 films and the TB12, 40 times. And he's faster now than when he came out. And he's posting 40 times. He's posting workouts. He's TB12. He's got that. There's a reason why he's staying dialed in. He can just post videos of him working out, but he's showing football videos, etc. Also, did you see, speaking of potentially coming back, did you see what J.J. Watt said?
You led me exactly to where I wanted to be. J.J. Watt said he would return to the Texans if they absolutely needed it. J.J. Watt, who retired after the 2022 season, made the comment Saturday as he hosted his annual charity softball game in Houston. Quote, I'm a very fortunate, lucky man. I have a beautiful wife. I have a beautiful son. I've had 12 great years in this league, and I'm very thankful to walk away healthy and playing great. I told D'Amico, talking about D'Amico Ryans, the head coach of the Texans, last year, don't call unless you absolutely need it. But if you ever do call, I'll be there. And he knows not to call unless he absolutely needs it. This is the last year I'll tell him that, but I'm not going to keep training that way. I've been training. He is training to come back, J.J. Watt.
There's 2 reasons why J.J. Watt has said this. The first one is easy. It's because the Texans are great, at least in their division.
Very Super Bowl contender.
They are a Super Bowl contender. You love the quarterback. You love the – first of all, the head coach is a defensive-minded individual. You know the relationship can be there for him and D'Amico Ryans. That's the main reason. Also, you remember with the Bidwells, who Maz and I agree on, as well as the Arizona Cardinals, the worst run franchise as it relates to the ownership.
I forgot he played for Arizona, to be honest.
Do you remember how they sent him out? It was horrible in terms of his last play, him walking off. Like, it just was no connection there. There was no connectivity. This is one of the greatest defensive players of all time. The way in which he went out, it didn't feel right. It just didn't feel like it's like watching Emmitt Smith finish. Oh, guess what? With the Arizona Cardinals. finishing up. So I think he also wants to finish in that Houston Texans uniform. That's why he's working out like this. He has nothing to prove. First ballot Hall of Famer, defensive MVP 3 times, I want to say. He's coming back because they're a contender, and he wants it to end the right way, wearing those colors. Oh, and they got new uniforms. That doesn't mind.
So J.J. Watt, his first year in the league with Houston was D'Amico Ryan's last year in the league in Houston. So they were teammates. D'Amico Ryan told reporters, I love to hear JJ saying he's ready. I've got his number ready to go just in case we need him. I do find it intriguing. JJ Watt just got named to the NFL and CBS desk too, by the way. It's funny that, if you look at the 2 media darlings by each network, Tom Brady with Fox, JJ McCarthy.
Look at
JJ
you, always
Watt,
thinking about JJ McCarthy.
JJ Watt with CBS. Both of those men want to come back to play football.
Yeah, 100%.
I think one of the reasons why is because they're constantly around it. When you're part of the broadcast team, you are constantly around it. And if you do have that in your blood, you want to be on the other side of it.
Also, too, it's everywhere. Like back in the day, Ryan and mine, I only use back in the day like we're old, but hey, we're here. Back in the day, you retire, you're gone. Like the only time you hear about football is if you're watching ESPN or NFL Network.
Yep.
Or unless the season is coming around. It's the only time you really hear about or see it. Now, you retire. Game didn't retire you. They're still talking about you. You're on social. Your algorithm is probably NFL-based. So you're probably looking at clip after clip after clip of current quarterback, current defensive end, current defensive lineman. So you're getting that itch. Now it's on every channel.
Right.
How many channels on cable or streaming are for sports? So you're always seeing it. Even your ads, like, hey, look, you get back on the field, we got some more money for you. I just think you're constantly around it. Even if you're not in the analyst space, now you at the analyst space, you can't run from it.
It's funny you mentioned the streaming. You take me back to the Tom Brady thing. It felt like last night watching the Tom Brady, and I was texting with a couple of people, it felt like such a communal television experience. We don't have those anymore because there are so many channels, so many streaming platforms.
Everybody used to be watching the same thing.
Everybody was watching the same thing,
Yeah.
and you could talk about it. We do not have those communal viewing experiences anymore on just about anything. Hell, we even get our news from different sources. My news is different from your news, is different from your news, is different from your
Which
news.
isn't reporting it the same way.
Exactly.
Which is not reporting it the same way. So now, as opposed to coming to work and kind of being cooler talk,
we're not even
used to be
privy.
called cooler talk.
We're not even privy to the same set of
Information
facts anymore.
So now we got to argue.
Right.
Now we can't even talk
Right.
about what we saw. We have to argue our point. When we're not even arguing our point,
Yeah.
we're arguing the people that gave us the point.
It is pretty incredible. So that's what last night was kind of fun about. When you watch the same thing and you can go and talk about it. Pretty cool. Guys, we'll take a break. We'll go continue to go around the NFL, I should say. I'll do my best Maz impersonation as we go through the NFL. But first, a message from Guardian Alarm.
That's right, everybody. What happens when you see that black and yellow sign out in front of your house? It tells the bad guys one thing.
Stay out.
Stay out.
That's right. It is a new year. Let Guardian Alarm offer you customized solutions from real experts, 24/7 professional monitoring, and technology backed by people. And that technology has been proven to work, and those people have been proven to care. So call 1-800.
Stay out.
That's 1-800.
Stay out.
Call them today and tell them Woodward Sports sent you. We'll be right back.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
For any Lady Jane's haircuts for men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week, walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week, walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's haircuts for men, it's wicked awesome.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit Sports.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda? A chef for Lola? Really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supply has everything that your pet can dream of, and guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out premierpetsupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets?
Nobody! The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
You smell that? That's Brad Holmes cooking, and the off-season smells good. Woodward Sports.
Hey, gang, welcome back. Woodward Sports Network. Ryan Ermanni, Braylon Edwards, Tom Mazaway out today. He'll be back tomorrow. Pete Spivak, and, of course, Silent Mike with us. Ari Mayrov, our good friend of the show from the 33rd team, he had some interesting things, great things to say about the Lions coming up. Play those for you momentarily. I just want to quickly, Braylon, go through some of these NFL stories, if we could. The 33rd team as well put out 3 teams that received the lowest draft grades. This is from an NFL exec. Houston. Atlanta got the worst draft grade.
Shocking.
Shocking. Cleveland and Carolina didn't do much better. Cleveland,
It's Cleveland.
It's Cleveland. And then Carolina, man. Bryce Young, I feel bad for Bryce Young. They didn't really have a first-round pick. Man, they just I don't know what to say about Carolina, man. That is a team that is really, really struggling, I feel like.
It's a team that's really struggling. It's an owner that's really struggling with his picks, and I think it's Tedford is the owner of the Carolina Panthers. They just can't get it right. I
guess they did trade up into the first round to get Xavier Legette, so I stand corrected.
Yeah, they got it. He's going to be a good wide receiver, but outside of that, you look at the picks that they made, just not the picks you think they would make for this franchise trying to move in the right direction. Frank Reich hasn't seemed to be the guy. Matt Rule from Baylor was not the guy, now coaching Nebraska. You look at before that, it seemed like the one coach that was decent for him, they let go.
Now, they did get Michael Barrett, linebacker from Michigan, in the 7th round, so maybe that'll help turn their team around. But, they're trying. I guess they're trying for the kid, Xavier Legette, wide receiver, Jonathan Brooks, running back in the 2nd round from Texas. They got a tight end in the 4th round. They're trying to help the kid out, but I don't think it happens.
The Carolina Panthers haven't been the same since they let Cam Newton go. Now, you can say what you want to about what Cam was when they let him go. I still think he should have been a quarterback for that team. But since then, it's just all falling apart. Like, Cam was that guy for them. Then you get guys retiring, whether it's insert guy here. Then you let Christian McCaffrey go. Every time they've done a blow-up move, it's like, okay, cool. We're going to do a move. This move is to jump the franchise forward. You get rid of Christian McCaffrey. You get some first-round picks. Ryan, you turn around and get those first-round picks. The Chicago Bears. Right. And and DJ Moore, your wide receiver, at every turn, they have just made mistake after mistake after mistake. Them and the Arizona Cardinals, they're going tick for tack.
Now, conversely, here's who this NFL exec, part of the 33rd team, says are the 3 highest draft grades. Philadelphia got an A+, Braylon. Philadelphia.
You showed that video.
Yeah, right. They wanted to get Cooper DeJean in the worst way, the Philadelphia Eagles, and they got him. Howie Roseman. They got, first of all, they shored up their defensive backfield in round 1. Quinyon Mitchell, the corner from from Toledo. Then they get Cooper DeJean in the 2nd round, cornerback from Iowa. They got this edge rusher from Houston Christian, which a lot of people really like.
High on him.
So their first 3 picks, defense, they got after it.
Yeah, and if you look at what they did, look, last year was not a good year for Nick Sirianni. I understand they went 10-7, but they started off red hot. They lost a lot of games towards the end. They weren't the same. You get Jason Kelsey, who retires. You get Fletcher Cox, who retires. You're looking at your team, and all of a sudden, this team that goes to the Super Bowl has become a team that doesn't even have the same confidence in itself. Jalen Hurts not nearly the quarterback that he was last year. But what do? You bring in Saquon Barkley, who showed you that he's still that guy last year with the New York Giants. You draft well because James Bradbury had been getting cooked at DB. You go get Quinyon Mitchell, who many had as the number 1 defensive back. Then you get Cooper DeJean, who a lot of other people had as a top 3 defensive back in this draft. Kind of like the Lions, got 2 guys that can be considered 1 and 2. So, and then you get a defensive end to shore up what you're doing. That's going to help out Darius Slay a lot, man. They're humping because they're pissed at what they did last year.
Washington was on this list as well of teams that got an A. Washington, they got what many people believe will be the best quarterback in this draft, Jaden Daniels. And Chicago was in love with Caleb Williams. Other NFL execs said if they had the number 1 pick, they would have gone with Jaden Daniels first overall. Then in round 2, a player that I really like, Jerzon Newton, defensive tackle from Illinois. And then a player I really, really like in the second round as well, Mike Sanders from Michigan. He is going to be a stud in this league. So they got Jaden Daniels in the first round and then 3 second-round players, Jerzon Newton, Mike Sanders and
that's the
Ben
one.
Sinnott.
And that's the one that I was going to mention. Yeah. Somehow, Philadelphia Eagles always have a tight end. You can go back the last 15 years, Ryan. They've had a tight end, whether it was Selleck years ago, whether it was Ertz, insert Dallas Goedert, and now you got a guy in Ben Sinnott that a lot of people like. I like him as well. But Jaden Daniels is going to be a monster. We talked about the more you go back and watch the film, because he wins the Heisman, and you're like, Then you start watching the film. You start seeing what he did in that SEC, which is still the best division, at least it was last year, although more Big Ten players were drafted. SEC was the top conference. He had his way with that conference. He had his way with those teams, and he's a much better passer of the football. I got a chance to meet him during draft. We can talk to him for a second. A lot taller than you would think he is. A sharp kid as well. They're reloading, and they're reloading fast. You called it. Washington Commanders are probably going to be one of the surprises of the season. Definitely going to be a surprise in that division. I can see them getting second in that division.
Without question.
I don't believe in the Giants.
Which is good.
And I told you Dallas.
Which could be a wild card team.
Dallas doesn't make the playoffs, so yeah.
The other team that got an A on this list, the Pittsburgh Steelers, Troy Fatano, the offensive guard from Washington. Zach Frazier in round 2. So Pittsburgh has 2 quarterbacks that need protection. What do they do with their first 2 picks? Quarterback. And those quarterbacks need somebody to throw to. You know who they got in the 3rd round?
Number 1.
Roman Wilson. So throw that list up there again of the teams with the A's, Pete. I'm going to show you something. You know what all these teams have in common?
Let me see. Not new head coach.
Do 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 do. Time is up. They all drafted a Michigan player.
Damn it. Okay.
They all drafted a Michigan player.
Yeah, true.
Now,
this is true.
Hey, the Eagles, they got 7th round pick. Fine. Still a Michigan player.
Yeah, this is true. Chargers got a B+, Michigan player.
Who?
Chargers got a B+.
Chargers got to be a Michigan player.
Yeah.
I mean, it is out there, man.
People
Is
understand.
out there.
You win a national championship, the sum of a whole. Everybody has success when you do it that way. And when you win like that, the way Michigan did, you got guys that can play their coach the right way. And that's what you're looking for. You're not looking, especially at the end of rounds, Brian, you're trying to get guys where you're like, how were they coached?
Right.
Because although we're sneaking some guys in the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, if they were coached the right way, these guys can come in and be a little ahead. These guys may end up being starters on the special teams, or they may end up coming in the pickle and being the 3rd DB situation. So where are these guys, or we're being coached by?
So you saw the 3 worst GMs and the 3 best GMs, or at least in terms of the draft grades that each team got. And I'm not a big draft grade person, but nonetheless, Amon-Ra, friend of the show, NFL reporter for the 33rd team. Now, this is long. This is about 4 minutes long. I'm not going to play the whole thing for you, but maybe we'll play a minute, stop and talk about it, or 2 minutes. We'll see where we are. But this is Ari Meirov talking about your Detroit Lions.
Let's talk about the Detroit Lions offseason, because it's been fun to see their roster building approach throughout this process. And sometimes when you're a team and you make it to the championship game and you lose, especially in heartbreaking fashion, you go into the offseason and sometimes it's like, you know what? Let's just go for it. We are so close. Let's go for it. Let's add a big name. And there's probably no better example than the Buffalo Bills a few years ago, who kept on making it to the playoffs and kept on hitting the Chiefs or the Bengals or whatever it was. And they decided, you know what? Let's go sign Von Miller to a big contract. Let's go restructure a bunch of contracts. And here we are this offseason. We finally saw they once again fell short. And we see now the Buffalo Bills kind of going through a reset right now. And the Lions could have done the same thing this offseason, but they decided, you know what? We are not going to do that. We're not going to go all in. We're still going to be very smart. And I look at all the signings they made in free agency, whether it was DJ Reader on the defensive line. It was not a big spend over there. Marcus Davenport, a 1-year deal. Kevin Zeitler on the offensive line. In the secondary, they decided to trade for Carlton Davis instead of going for a bigger name. They signed Amik Robertson. None of these guys are big money deals, but they're all really solid players who are going to help them in 2024, and they are really good culture fits as well, which obviously is so important for Dan Campbell. And then look ahead to the draft and what they did last week. They trade up in round 1 for Terrion Arnold, the Alabama cornerback, who was cornerback 1 or 2 on most boards. And then in the second round, they go ahead and address cornerback again with Ennis Rakestraw Jr., another guy for this.
So I thought the interesting part about this was the comparison, Braylon, to the Buffalo Bills, who Buffalo, year in and year out, going toe-to-toe with Kansas City. They cannot get over the hump. You get desperate. You make that one splash free agent signing like a Von Miller, and everything goes south from there.
Yeah, 100%. You know, they kept getting caught up, like you said, Cincinnati, Chiefs. Now we got to go get somebody to go get Von Miller. They give him a deal where Von's 34 when they give him the deal. They give him a deal for $125 million, $140. What are you thinking?
Right.
Like, what are you thinking? They could have gone out and done that, but they built it their way. Like, a lot of people had a lot of concerns about Brad Holmes and the Lions each year. Even now, people are still questioning the moves. But when you look at it, you appreciate they did it their way, but at the same time, you love it that they did it their way. They took their time. We wanted them to bring in, how many guys have we named in the last 2 years? Bring in what was it? The linebacker from Seattle. Bring in Bobby Wagner. Bring in Deshaun Watson.
Even this year, who did we want? We wanted the defensive back from Kansas City.
Bring in L'Jarius Sneed.
Bring in Chris Jones.
Bring in Chris Jones. Bring in Danielle Hunter. Bring in DeAndre Hopkins. Insert player that came to the market that was worth some money. We said, hey, you add him here, we'll be much better. They slowly built it. 3-13-1, 9-8, and almost made the playoffs. We know about the Seattle and the Rams game. Then last year, 12-5. They got all the way to the NFC Championship without getting these guys, without spending all this dumb money, drafting the right way, making a couple right moves in the offseason with the free agents. So they've done it that way. I got zero to say. I have zero to say. They've done it their way, and they're that close. That's why now we panic with the defensive back. We got to get a L'Jarius Sneed. Oh, this stuff happened with Cam Sutton. What are we going to do? I don't know if we trust Amik Roberts. They got 2 guys that could easily be the best 2 DBs in this class. They needed offensive linemen because Frank Ragnow is getting old, because Taylor Decker's hurt. They got 2 offensive linemen in this one that can actually play both positions, tackle and guard. It seems like they have the cheat code for something that nobody else has. It's almost like watching the Golden State Warriors when they were way ahead of everybody, shooting the 3 ball, shooting half court. It was unfair watching Golden State. That's how I feel when I watch Brad Holmes draft and the players and the moves they making. He's got a cheat code that nobody quite yet has.
I never thought I would say this, but I don't think all championships are created equal. And
No.
The reason why I say that is because, like, I feel like that if you won a championship, you still won the championship. You have the memories of that championship, and nobody can ever take it away from you. Meaning the 1997 Marlins are the champions. They went for it for 1 year.
Yep.
They went all in for 1 year. They won the championship, and then they sold everybody off. Bobby Bonilla, the list goes on and on and on.
Yeah. Look at the Rams.
The Rams. Now the Rams have reloaded, but the Rams, F them picks. The Rams go in a 1 year. Now the Rams reloaded. Fair or not, but I was thinking more of like the Marlins kind of championship than anything else.
Like Steinbrenner used to do.
Yeah, but if I would much rather a championship. I think it is more special the way I think a championship is more special the way the Bad Boy Pistons won it, the way the Going to Work Pistons won it.
About the Bulls.
The way the Bulls won it.
Yeah, they built.
Then the way the Miami Heat won it with LeBron.
Bosh and LeBron.
Yeah.
Bosh and LeBron. Shoot, KD going to Golden State.
Right. Like, essentially. Does that...
100%. I think that...
Because I've always just been, championship is a championship is a championship. But like when you think about these things, like it is, if the Lions ever won a Super Bowl, I think it is awesome the way they're doing it.
I think
this.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, the trophies are equal.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how you build it. If you go all in and you hit and you sell everybody off like the Marlins, that trophy is still equal to what insert team here did. But to your point, that journey is more special. The memories of it are more special because you got guys that came here where they told this franchise is dead. You got a coach that wasn't supposed to be here after year 2. You got an owner in Sheila Hamm.
Stories.
It's the story.
Yeah.
You got an owner in Sheila Hamm who looked like she was in over her head with the Quintricia situation. You got players, Amon-Ra St. Brown, drafted in the 4th round, knows everybody drafted before him, has shown them up in a major way. Jared Goff, the thrown away quarterback, now the guy that's about to get extension. The story is amazing. So if they were to knock this Super Bowl out this year or the next, the story of that journey, it's going to be one for the ages because you're talking about the very first, and you're talking about year after year after year after year of disappointment. And all of a sudden, the group that you wouldn't think would have got it done.
And I also think it's good to struggle. I think the
struggle builds character.
I do. I think the struggle, the fight, losing, I think that builds a lot of character, and I think that builds character in a fan base as well. When you talk about losing to San Francisco, you look at San Francisco.
Hey, you talking about going all in. Real question for you, San Francisco 49ers. How many times can they go all in?
Right.
Because I got a feeling that this team is no longer that dominant team that we saw the last couple of seasons.
I don't even think they win the division this year.
Rams.
Yeah, Rams will win that division.
Matt
probably.
Stafford,
yeah,
barring
no doubt.
injury.
All right, guys, we will take a break. Come back, talk a little Tigers as well. Big series tonight in Cleveland. Just got done with one in New York.
Can we get? I'll save it.
Save it.
I'll save it.
All right, we'll be right back. But first, a message from Wake Up Woodward.
That's right, everybody. Wake Up Woodward. The morning show here, Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. right here on Woodward Sports. You can join Matt Broder, and I know Matt's in the chat right now, so I'm mentioning your name first there, Matt. That's right, Matt Broder. You can see him, Sam Flannel, Kool-Aid, JB, and Kenny G every Monday through Friday morning, 8 to 10 a.m. right here on Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports, and we will be right back.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
What's up, everybody? Neil Rule, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, home of the Planet Fitness Studios. Let me tell you a little personal story about myself with Planet Fitness. Planet Fitness helped me change my life, and it can do the same for you. The best gym in the gym game. The clean facilities, tons of cardio equipment, tons of weights as well. And look, through all the price increases, inflation, all that, hasn't happened at Planet Fitness. Still $1 down, $10 per month, $24.99 a month for the Black Card as well. It's Planet Fitness, everybody, where your fitness is essential.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit Sports.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
To any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
Congratulations to the real Coach of the Year, Motor City Dan Campbell.
Just put your head down and go to work. It's about to be fun, man. It's about to be fun.
Woodward Sports.
All right, guys, final segment of the show. I do want to talk a little Tigers. They got swept in New York over the weekend. They have a pretty significant, I'd say, early season matchup with the Cleveland Guardians in Cleveland right now. You know, Detroit goes to New York. They lose 2-1 game. One
One-run game.
Yeah, it actually was not. So they lost 2-1 the first night. They had a 1-0 lead heading into the ninth and got snake bitten there. They just don't hit the baseball. They scored 3 runs on Saturday. And then on Sunday, they scored 2 runs. This team, the problem with this Detroit Tigers team, and I think we know the catalyst of it, they cannot hit the baseball. And they don't come up clutch. Their starting pitching is phenomenal. It's why a lot of us wanted them to go get a bat in the offseason, get a Matt Chapman or somebody to play. JD Martinez, somebody to be a solid pro bat in this lineup. Mark Canha has kind of fallen off a little bit. Gio Urshela is not healthy to play. I think that's a significant hole for this team. And, of course, where do you go with Spencer Torkelson?
Glad you brought him up.
Yeah. Spencer Torkelson is having a horrific season. Batting just .216. Slugging is .304. His OPS is .587. That is nearly 400 points lower than Riley Green.
Who's their only superstar in terms of hitting the ball? Like right now, Riley Green. Shouts out to you, Spencer Torkelson. Like number 1 pick. Like when is enough? Like 2 years ago, I mean, he couldn't
hit home runs.
He couldn't hit anything 2 years ago. Last year, he started off horrible. He finishes with 31 home runs. He gives us a little bit of hope, makes us optimistic about what he could finally be. He can't hit anything. And you hear AJ, how far down the line are you going to move him? He was batting in the 7th spot yesterday, if I'm correct. How far down the line can you move him? They asked AJ Hinch, said, are you going to continue to move him down the line until he finds his rhythm? And AJ Hinch responded, thank God, the only way he should have. He'll be sitting right here if this keeps up.
Parker Meadows has been horrible for this team. He's batting a .097. I mean, that's a batting average, .097.
0.97. I thought that was what? That was a percentage.
0.97.
That's tough.
Wait. No, that's that's Parker Meadows.
Less than
0.97. It's
how you betting less than 100?
Javier Baez 177. And sorry, I'm old school. I still like batting average. And I still like home runs.
Some batting averages matter. I understand that now it's strikeout or hit home runs. I understand that you look at guys that are great. They're only batting 220, 230, 240. 0.97? Come on,
man.
Come on.
And Riley Green has been really, really good for this team, man. I mean, this dude is
let's get some help. And I think we saw the biggest sign, Ryan. I'm just passionate about the Tigers. I said they were going to win the doggone division. We saw the writing on the wall The Flaherty game.
Mm-hmm.
Flaherty has 14 Ks, breaks his own record, 7 batters up, 7 batters down, and they lost.
Yeah, and now he goes tonight. Jack Flaherty goes tonight against Tristan McKenzie. And look, a lot of people looked at this 6-game series, 6-game road set, 3 at New York, 3 at Cleveland, and said, "Oh, I'd like to win 2 games. I'd like to win 3 games, maybe get a split somewhere." But
what about a goose egg?
Right now you're staring a goose egg down the face. You hope you can get one with this series with Cleveland. I don't think Cleveland is some wrecking ball or anything like that, but
right.
They have won a couple of games. What are they, 22-12? Yeah, I mean 22-12 this season.
The deceiving thing about Cleveland and the deceiving thing about the Minnesota Twins in the division, all their wins are in the division.
Twins lost yesterday, by the way. They had won 12 in a row.
And guess what? Out of those 12 wins, 10 of them were in the division.
Mm-hmm.
And we have the worst division. Well, we have the worst team, the White Sox. It is the worst division.
And they won 2 in a row.
Because they probably played somebody in the Central.
St. Louis.
Okay. They're another bad team.
Right.
But to your point, you got to watch those wins. And that's why I say Detroit's still in it, because all the Minnesota Twins and Guardians wins are in the same division, much like ours.
Yeah. I don't have much on the Tigers. Tarek Skubal was really good yesterday. Tarek Skubal and Riley Green. That's what this team has right now.
That was
12 career strikeout or 12 strikeouts for him. That's a career high. And he probably is
in a loss.
He probably in a loss. He probably is a Cy Young favorite right now. Tarek Skubal. Oh, by the way,
if his hitters get hit for him.
By the way, did you see the Tigers City Connect uniforms?
I did not.
It came out today. What do you think of these, Bray? The Motor City.
Now, is that blue? That was like kind of royal around the sleeve. Oh, here we go.
Now that's like kind of an M1 patch for Woodward with a 3-1-3. You can't see the you see the 1 there.
Okay.
There's 2 silent. It's a 3-1-3.
As long as Fanatics didn't make these, I'm cool.
I think those are supposed to be like tire tracks.
Okay.
Now somebody had to explain that to me. I did not see the tire tracks when you look at the video. Right. I mean, I don't.
If you can't win, I don't care. What did you tell me about the uniform? If they win, these uniforms look cool. But if you lose, they suck.
I guess I'm just not a City Connect guy.
Okay.
Like, I didn't care about the Pistons. I don't care about the Tigers. Like, did
the Red Wings do something?
I don't know.
Oh, there was the black and red ones.
I don't know. If I can't turn the television on and be able to tell who's playing,
click.
I don't know. Maybe I'm old school or curmudgeon or something. Those jerseys do nothing for me.
The jerseys
that hat looks like something you'd get at a gas station on 8 Mile.
What?
I mean, maybe that's the part that they like, right?
Yeah, right.
That's it. That's the hat you get. Maybe that's what they're going for. If it's City Connect.
That was pretty good. That was pretty good. It does. It looks like one was not even a real New Era hat.
Right.
Like a knockoff New Era.
Right.
Like a cheap one that you do get at the gas station, like right up there hanging behind the bulletproof glass.
Yeah. I don't care about these uniforms.
Hey, look, I tell you like this. You go out there and win me some games with them, I love them. Right. If you don't, I hate them. It's like the Pistons benches from back in the day. If the Pistons would have been good in the turquoises, we would have loved them.
Right.
But the Pistons were not, so we hated them.
Hey, while I'm on the uniform thing, can we go back in the NBA to where the coaches wear suits again?
Oh, you don't like the quarter zips?
Instead of these quarter zips. It looks so sloppy. All these coaches look sloppy. Wear a suit.
Okay.
Wear a suit. This isn't COVID. This isn't the Orlando gym where you're playing at Disney World.
Right.
Throw a suit. Can you throw a suit and tie on for me, please?
I try to always agree with you on a lot of things, but as the nostalgic space, I disagree on this one. And the reason why I disagree is because I always wondered, it's a sporting event. It is the guys that you're coaching have on tank top and shorts. Why should you have to wear a suit? Like a lot of times in college, they would wear more chill.
Rick Pitino. Rick Pitino's rocking a suit still.
It's like the NFL. The NFL, you can be very comfortable. You got to walk up and down the sideline. Why don't they have to wear a suit like Hank Stram?
That's how it's been.
Hank
It's like,
Stram used to wear a suit.
look at how gorgeous
He looks amazing, but then he can wear that suit after the game in the press conference.
Chuck Daly.
But Chuck Daly's the GOAT of dressing. Like, people won't give him the credit over Pat Riley. Pat Riley copied Chuck Daly.
Oh, Pat Riley was phenomenal.
He was amazing. He was amazing.
Incredible.
But those days are over. It's more laid back and relaxed now, man.
Hey, Greg, thanks for the $10 donation as in the super chat. Number one fan.
$10.
Thanks so much. We appreciate you, Greg. Thanks so much for making us part of your day. Absolutely. I've never been a fan of the pullover for basketball coaches. I do think it looks sloppy. And another thing, last thing while we're talking about this. Can we go back to where the home team wears white at home and the road team wears the dark jerseys on the road?
So we can identify the difference?
Yes.
I'm cool with that.
I mean, the Orlando Magic were wearing the white jerseys yesterday.
Same color.
In Cleveland. It's the dumbest thing. It's just the dumbest thing. And with that, I'm done today.
You know what really grinds my gears?
Right. Hey, Braylon, give the people some winners tonight. Okay, let's go quickly. NBA, you've got 2 games. Game 1, the Knicks, a 5.5-point favorite against the Pacers.
Lock of the night. There's not this game. The Knicks are 5.5 favorites. Yep. Take the upset tonight.
Denver, a 6.5-point favorite against the T-Wolves.
They'll win by double digits tonight.
Denver.
They'll win by double digits. Now, nothing crazy, but they'll win by 10 to 11 tonight.
And game 1 in hockey, Bruins at the Panthers.
This could be the Panthers' year. Florida's had a lot of upsetting years the last 3 seasons, including when they lost to an 8 seed when they were the 1 team and won the trophy. I think the Panthers, it might be their time.
Tom Mazaway back tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. Braylon, get us out of here.
We'll see you guys tomorrow. Appreciate you for tuning in to Ermanni and Edwards with Maz. Appreciate P. Spivak as well as Silent Mike over there. Thanks for the chat. Go out and watch the Tom Brady Roast tonight because we will be talking about it tomorrow yet again. I'm going to watch it, so you do too. Appreciate you for tuning in. Ermanni Edwards, Maz will be back tomorrow.